Hi, everybody. In this video, I'm going to talk about writing an equation for slope-intercept form when you're given the slope and a point. So this is the trickiest level of the first skill for lesson 0.10. All right, so we need to remember that our slope-intercept equation is y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So I notice in this equation that I am given my slope and a point on my line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first substitute in my slope, which is 6 for which letter do you think, M or B? M. So we have y equals 6x plus b. Now we are given this point. We are given the point -2, -16. Remember, our points are always going to be written x comma y. So -2 is x and -16 is y. So now I'm going to substitute -2 in where I see x and -16 in where I see y. So where I see 16 or where I see y, I'm going to put -16. And that is equal to 6 times x, and we know that x is equal to -2, and I'm going to substitute into parentheses because it's right next to this 6. I didn't need to put -16 in parentheses because it's just followed by itself over there on the other side of the equal sign. So I am going to substitute my -2 into parentheses because it is right next to that 6, and so I want to really emphasize that the operation that's happening between the m and the x, the 6 and the x, is multiplication. So I have 6 times -2 plus b. So now I'm going to simplify this a little bit. I have -16. I'm going to move it up here. -16 is equal to -12 plus b. So remember, we don't know what b is yet, and that's what I'm trying to find. So I'm going to solve this equation for b and see what I get. So when I solve this equation for b, I'm going to try to get b all by itself. So what's over with b right now currently is this -12. So I'm going to add 12 to both sides. Excuse me. So on the right side, my -12s cancel, and we're left with just b. And that is equal to -16 plus 12 gives me -4. So we know that our m is 6 and our b is equal to -4. So my equation then for this line is y equals our slope we found to be 6. So we have 6x. And then our b is -4. So I would have -4. So I will type in y equals 6x minus 4. So you identify your slope and you substitute that into the equation. Then you use your points, x and y values to find b. So you know your m, you know your x and y, then you find b using those three things. Then once you have b, you substitute b and m into the equation. Y equals mx plus b. Let's try this one. A line passes through the points -7, 0, and 7, -2. Write its equation in slope-intercept form. All right, this one is going to be a little bit of work, but it's nothing we can't do. So I still need to find my slope and my y-intercept. I still need to know what m is, and I still need to know what b is for my equation y equals mx plus b. So this time my slope is not given to me. So I need to use the handy dandy slope formula to find slope. So our slope, or m, is going to be equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right. Let's label our points. So -7, 0, -7 is my x1, 0 is my y1, 7 is my x2, and -2 is my y2. So I'm going to substitute these into the slope formula. I know my slope formula has this fraction bar with the 2 minus signs. My first position going in the first blank is y2. My y2 is -2. Minus y1, our y1 is 0. And then our x2 is 7. Minus x1 is -7. Now I just simplify. -2 minus 0 is -2. And 7 minus -7 is the same thing as 7 plus 7. And 7 plus 7 is 14. So we have -2 over 14. And really that's the same thing as -1/7. I just divided both my numerator and my denominator by 2. So I just divided both by 2. And that's a really ugly division sign. -2 divided by 2 gives me -1, and 14 divided by 2 gives me 7. So our slope then, m, is equal to -1/7. So I will type m is equal to -1/7, or not type, but write. Now I need to follow the same steps I did last time to get my b. So I know that we have y equals, our m is -1/7 x plus b. Now I have 2 points, 2 different points. I can choose either -7, 0, or I can choose 7, -2. I'm going to choose -7, 0 because it has a 0, and I like that. I always love a good 0. So I'm going to substitute in 0 for y. So 0 is substituted in for y, and that is equal to -1/7 b, or x, excuse me. And x we know is -7 here, plus b. And notice I substituted into parentheses again. So we selected this point. Our x is -7, so I substitute -7 in where I see x. And our y is 0, so I substitute in 0 where I see y. Now I simplify a little bit. 0 is going to be equal to, well, I notice that I have -1/7 times -7. I know that my negative times a negative is going to equal a positive. Now let's just focus on the numbers. 1/7 times 7. If I have 1/7 7 times, how many sevenths do I have? I have 7 sevenths, or a whole. So whenever I see the 7 in the denominator and we're multiplying by that number, those two things cancel out. So we're left with just 1. So we have +1 plus b. Now I just solve this equation for b. So I subtract 1 from both sides, and I get that -1 is equal to b. So m is -1/7, b is -1. So our equation then is y equals -1/7 x minus 1. So to type in this answer, I would first type y equals negative, then I would type my fraction, 1/7, then x minus 1. All right, and we submit. Hopefully this helped. If not, please let me know if you have any additional questions.